Okay, so today we want to talk with you all about reading Wikipedia in the classroom. This is a project that's sponsored by the education team at the Wikimedia Foundation. And the project is to learn, is that learning how to read Wikipedia as integrated as learning in the sense that from offer a platform to teach this skill, and it's something that students are already familiar with for the most part, and that's what we want to see if we can change through this project. And so what we want to do is test a toolkit to help teachers use Wikipedia in the classroom. The toolkit will raise awareness of the value of Wikipedia as a tool for learning information literacy, change attitudes towards Wikipedia in schools, increase readership of Wikipedia in low awareness regions in the Global South, and help us to develop localizable resources and localization guidelines to increase global adoption. So one of the things we want to do with this project is really start with places that have been, for the most part, ignored. When you think about curriculum design, when you're designing a global curriculum, usually they start with Europe or North America and then try to copy paste that curricula to different contexts around the world. And you find that it's not really effective. So we want to start with the context, design for that context, and then understand how to adapt it for other locations. And so that's why we really want to focus on contexts that may be a little bit more challenging. So maybe where the infrastructure isn't that well developed, or maybe where teacher attitudes toward new types of pedagogy or new types of technology are an issue, or maybe where school leadership is against using Wikipedia in the classroom, to develop for that, and then to develop the localization guidelines to be able to adapt that towards other contexts. I hope that makes sense, but we can definitely explain more later. Mm-hmm. So alongside 3 affiliate partners, we will research the educational context and use findings to create localized toolkits for teachers. What those toolkits look like is totally flexible, because what we want to do is make sure we're designing for the teachers in that location and their on the ground reality. We will hire local coordinators in each location who will disseminate the toolkit and support teachers at the period. And then we'll develop the capacity of the affiliate partners and local coordinators on site. So someone from the education team will come there to do the capacity development. We will be developing the toolkits together, but we want to make sure that the local coordinator is able to support the teachers, and that that the affiliates that we're working with have actually increased their capacity to do education work. So part of this project is not only designing the toolkit and piloting the project, but also making sure that we are building up the capacity of a local affiliate in the country that we're working in. Then we will also evaluate the pilot and publish our findings, and adapt and publish the toolkit and localization guidelines. So we expect that this project will scale. This year, we're just working with 3 affiliate partners, but we think in the next, the following year, after we've developed the materials and created those localization guidelines, that we'll be able to adapt them and scale up to other locations. And then by 4 years in, have scaled up to almost institutionalization. That's a reach goal, but we still have it as a goal. So like I said before, we want to really test our ability to develop localizable materials and localization guidelines. We don't want to follow the model of copy paste something that works in North America and tell everyone it's going to work in their in their local community, because we know that doesn't work. So we want this to serve as a foundation for further adaptation and adoption by communities and partners. So we really want to make sure that we're developing something that's flexible enough to be useful in many places, with some adjustments, which will inform people about using the guidelines. And we also think that this is an opportunity to learn, because we're focusing specifically on reading Wikipedia and not editing Wikipedia. We want to see maybe if we can grow interest in the broader Wikimedia movement where community doesn't yet exist, by having students read Wikipedia in the classroom when they're in school. And we want to see if reading Wikipedia in the classroom can grow communities. So in this first iteration of the pilot, we aren't testing the materials in any communities that don't, any locations that don't already have a Wikimedia community, but there is potential in the future to work with a Ministry of Education to use these materials in a country where community doesn't yet exist, and to see if we can get students interested in the broader Wikimedia movement. So that's an opportunity to learn from this project. So right now we're in stage 1, and that's the pilot. And we are looking to see teachers report increased awareness of the educational value of reading Wikipedia in the classroom, and to report that they will continue to teach students how to read Wikipedia in the future. So we hope to see this change, and that's why we're going to do some robust evaluation of the results to see if this is an effective way to get teachers to understand the value of Wikipedia in education. So the team will continue to follow up and understand teacher attitudes towards the use of Wikipedia as an educational tool, even after the pilot is finished. So we want to check in with the teachers, let's say after 6 months or after 1 year, to see if they're still using Wikipedia as a tool in the classroom. Then in stage 2, like I said previously, we're hoping to scale up and issue a training of trainers certificate on how to use this toolkit to support, local schools in your community. And we're hoping that there will be at least 50 schools worldwide that are using this toolkit. And then we'll collect further data about teacher attitudes towards using Wikipedia as an educational tool. And stage 3, partners adapt and scale the use of the toolkit. So we're hoping to partner through some large networks of education partner institutions. For example, UNESCO ASP.NET Schools is a community of UNESCO affiliated schools that includes over 10,000 schools worldwide. They've contacted us before about potential partnerships, and we think this would be a good opportunity at this stage to bring in a partner of that size, to say, like, we've tested this pilot, we've scaled it to at least 50 schools. And then in stage 3, we want to see it in at least 100 schools. And stage 4, institutionalization. Like we said, this is a reach goal, but it could very well be possible if we have proven that that these resources are useful for teachers, that it changes attitudes towards using Wikipedia in the classroom. And so what we want to really see is a global shift in attitude towards reading Wikipedia in the classroom, away from like, oh no, you can't do that, that's bad, to like, oh wow, this is a great learning opportunity for my students, and I know where I can find help to do this. So we hope that this will cause global readership to increase as a result, as people grow up learning how to read Wikipedia. And so let's start here. These slides are backwards. So what we need from affiliate partners, we need affiliate partners who are supporting Wikipedia with at least 100,000 articles, but an exception can be made if we know there are enough good quality articles to align with the school curricula. So what we need to do is to make sure that the articles in the language that we're working in can actually be read in school, that they're quality enough and they align with the curriculum. So for example, if we are working with science teachers, that the science articles are good enough for them to be able to use in the classroom. We want the affiliates to be located in an emerging community, and I should add here an emerging community in the global south, since that's not implicit in the term emerging community. Because of the reasons I said before, and we can explain more if it's necessary, but we really want to design in contexts that are usually not designed for. And so that's why we've chosen to do it this way for the first three. And that does not mean that we're not going to work globally in the future. It's just that for this pilot, we wanted to make sure that we are designing for communities that don't usually get designed for. And the affiliate needs to have the capacity to host and support part-time local community coordinator that's funded by the Wikimedia Foundation. We expect this coordinator to spend about 100 hours working on this project. And so it's not necessarily a full-time position. It's really a good opportunity for someone who might be already employed by the affiliate but could, take on a project, or for someone in the community who would like to, learn more about how to do Wikimedia education work and has a flexible schedule where they can dedicate 100 hours of time to this project. But we do expect that it would take about 100 hours of time, and the local coordinator would be responsible for liaising with the school partners, for disseminating the materials once they're developed and printed, and then coordinating and supporting the teachers as they pilot the materials. The other kind of requirements are that we want the affiliate to be interested in doing Wikimedia education work and want to build their capacity around the development of educational materials, building partnerships in the school system, and teacher support. They have to have a willingness to collaborate on the design and dissemination of the materials. Not that they'll be responsible for that, because our team will be designing the materials, but we definitely want there to be a local collaboration so that we're really designing with the context in mind. We want to be collecting good data. We want to be asking the right questions. And our instructional designers will be working very closely with the community to design these materials. So there needs to be willingness to support the data collection and willingness to support the translation of the materials. We do have some funding for translation, but it's not an exponential amount of funding. So it would be really great to have some support in the translation. So for example, we could, provide the funding to the affiliate and they could do the translation of the materials. Or they could hire the, the folks who do the translation of the materials. And then let me go back. And then for the school institutions that we want to work with, in each of the 3 countries that we pilot in, we need at least 5 participating schools with 5 participating teachers in each school who teach students aged 12 to 14. And we need the schools to commit to pre-implementation support for the information gathering stage. So giving us access to the teachers so we could maybe do interviews or site visits or classroom observations to really understand what their day-to-day reality is like. And then we will also want commitment to teacher in-service training and allowing or facilitating in-school ongoing support from our staff. So that means like the head of the school or the district administrator would give us some time. And hopefully that would be time that's already built into the teachers' commitments. So we're not giving them extra work to do, that this could be part of their in-service training, or it could be part of whatever training days they have scheduled. So we're a bit flexible on the implementation timeline to be able to work within, what the school system is already doing. So that's what we're looking from educational partners. So that would be like the education institutions that the local affiliate would be owning the partnership of. I think that's it. Yep, thank you. And now I will take questions. I'm sure there's lots of questions.
Yeah, I have a question. I don't know if Jackie wants to start. No,
I'm
it's
just
okay. We don't hear you.
sorry. I'm just curious. Shall we keep the question and answer in the recording, or we should stop the recording?
Let's keep it in the recording. I think we can edit the video
Okay.
later if it's like too all over the place or something. But I think it's good for others to hear questions and answers too.
Okay. Sure.
Are you guys? Jackie and Patricia? Are you okay with the Q&A being part of the recording?
Yes. Okay.
It's
No
okay.
problem.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so no, I have a very practical question. I didn't understand at the end if you needed 5 schools in total or 5 schools for every country or community, Wikimedia community was going to be participating.
Good question. Yeah. So 5 in each.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that was my first question. I don't know if Jackie has something else to add.
About the ages, is 12 to 14. That means I'm working with high school and higher education, and that might be difficult for me, getting students from 12 to 14.
Mm-hmm.
This is your scope there.
Yeah. So depending on, the education system where you are, those might all be secondary school students. It will depend on each location. But that age group is the age group where they're starting to learn these concepts.
Okay.
So that's the age group we want, high school or secondary school students. But
Yeah.
this isn't targeting university students. So we definitely want to work in either middle school or secondary schools.
Okay.
Okay.
Or junior high schools or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
7th grade.
Yeah.
So the first step will be getting 5 schools willing to participate in this program.
Yes, and just to mention that we can support that. It's not that you have to do that on your own. Also, the Global Reach team is supporting this project, so they can help to look for partnerships. We already have sometimes dialogue with ministries of education who, maybe in the past have expressed wanting to do something and we didn't have the capacity to do it at that time. So, and some affiliates already have really good relationships with ministries of education or school districts and that kind of thing. So depending on the amount of support needed, we can support as necessary, looking for those partners.
Yeah, I don't see that that's going to be the problem. The problem for us, at least in Chile, on the other hand, it's another way. Yes.
Did I miss something? I think yeah. Did you have a question? I think I missed something.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Patricia just lost her connection.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
she's coming back. Yeah.
Maybe give her a second.
And the other thing I wanted to ask is, you're looking for face-to-face settings, right? Because I'm working in online settings.
Yeah, so the piloting of the materials, whoever the affiliate hires as the local coordinator, they will go to the schools. So it would be, it would be required that they go to the schools. So they would disseminate the materials and then provide at the beginning some kind of in-service training and then ongoing support throughout the piloting. So answering any questions or maybe to support some data collection, maybe doing some classroom observations or some interviews or those kinds of things. So it's quite hands-on. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so sorry, I lost my connection, and I also lost Jackie question.
So Jackie, can you repeat your question?
It was about the online and face-to-face settings. that they are looking more at face-to-face context.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so the local coordinator for this project, so the affiliate will hire and support the local coordinator, but what you need the local coordinator to do is to actually go to the schools, disseminate the materials, provide some beginning in-service training for the teachers, and then ongoing support for the project. So that might be supporting the teachers, answering questions that they have, or helping them with any of the concepts in the materials, or it could also mean helping us with some data collection for evaluation. So maybe doing some classroom observations or some interviews, or doing like some surveys or something like that. So there's a few components to the role of the local coordinator.
Okay. I have two questions regarding the local coordinator.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, do you have like a profile of people that you're looking for to do this job? Like, if we are going to be free eventually, if we are chosen, of course, to be free to hire the person that we think it's the best one to do this job, or you will give us some lines to choose the right professional. And that's my first question.
Okay.
And the second one is that well, we in Wikimedia Chile, we are in a very particular situation because we already have someone who is in charge of the education program. It's someone who's working full-time with us. Her name is Rosillo. She's a professor. She's a teacher, actually. And we are just about to develop like a teacher or like a school program that's called Wikimedia en el aula or in la sala. And so, yeah, we are very interested in this program, but we already have that person, and she's already working with us full time. So how we could eventually, if we are chose to work with this third person? I mean,
So
that's something that
yeah,
we can arrange.
so actually that's a really good question. So the local coordinator, I think I said this in the presentation, but I'll reiterate. It could be someone you already have if they have the time to support the project. So it's about 100 hours that we would need them for. So if what they're already doing, if they have, then the money could be used to just support them in their position already. And if not, if the affiliate doesn't have someone already on staff who has the flexibility in their schedule to support the project, then you could bring someone on. But it would need to be someone who is okay with more of a flexible role, where it's not going to be like part-time every day. It's going to be maybe more intensive in some parts than other parts. So if you have someone in the community who is really interested in doing education work, wants to learn more, has some flexibility in their schedule, then they would be a really good candidate. And in terms of like the hiring, the affiliate will definitely be the one making the decision on who should be doing this work. We just need them to be able to commit to what we need them to do, essentially. And we will also we'll provide training, we'll provide support to that person. So they're not going to be doing it on their own. It doesn't need to be someone who's an expert. It just needs to be someone who has the time and who wants to learn, and maybe has some understanding of school systems and how things work. But we can definitely train them to know what they need to know, and especially in cooperation with the affiliates that we are working with, get them up to speed. So what they need to be able to do is to help us collect data, and we'll work with the local affiliate to design maybe some interview questions, or what that data collection looks like, because obviously like we're not on the ground, so we want to make sure we're asking the right questions. We want to make sure we're really being able to get an understanding of like what is a teacher's day like in this place, what textbooks do they use? How do they teach? What would it mean for them to try to do something different? Because as you probably know, like in public schools, it's really hard to get teachers to do new things. A lot of it, it's still like what we call chalk and talk, right? Or very rote methodology. So to do something where you're teaching information literacy using a new technology, using participatory learning methods, it might be new and it might be challenging. So we want to make sure that we are providing the necessary support for them to do this successfully. And so that's like the local coordinator would be kind of our liaison with the teachers. They could do the interviews, they can support the use of the materials, answer any questions that the teachers have, maybe even do like an example lesson for the teachers. So like maybe, you know, go into the class and show them one of the lessons from the materials that we develop, depending on their capacity and their comfortability with that. So there's some flexibility in the design. We didn't like design that part really strictly because it's going to be different. It's going to be different in each place, and we want it to be different in each place because that's the whole point. So I hope that answers your question.
And one more question, Nicole.
Sure. Do you mind if I quickly turn on the light because it just got dark in here?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, just give me 1 minute.
So we can see you. Oh, okay.
Thank you. The sun just like went down real fast.
Yeah. Okay. My question is about, like Patricia, I was thinking in my local education coordinator, and he's also starting in this job, and he's kind of, you know, just looking for what's the job to do in Wikimedia education. Maybe he will be interested, but I don't think he speaks English enough to follow like these webinars. Or we can support him, but will that be a problem?
No, because we have Melissa on our staff.
Okay. We have Melissa, of course.
Yeah, so it won't be a problem. So we expect that like for the 3 on-site support visits that myself, Melissa, and Vasanti will each do one of them. So Melissa will definitely be able to support that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Can I go back a little bit to my question, because okay, so I understand that it's okay if we have already someone who's working in a similar kind of project with school teachers, because we, like I was telling you before, we are really into that project before even know that this opportunity will emerge. So it goes very well with what we are doing right now. So could we eventually like use these funds for local coordinator or something to hire someone who help us with our project? I mean, like we will really try to fusion or make something like to work together about what you are proposing us and what we are doing like normally in Wikimedia Chile. But I mean, with these other things that this person has to do, like data collection and collaboration in the design, or maybe translation, or trying to coordinate the translations, that's something that Rocio, our education coordinator, like she cannot do that. Like she's already have a full time for us, because we also have university program and Wikipuentes and all the other stuff. So this second person, can we also ask him or ask her to do some other stuff, or she or he has to be fully committed to your program? I don't know if I'm clear.
Yes. Yeah, I think I understand. So for this project, the funding we have is for these 100 hours that are necessary for this project. So I don't have funding that can support anything else than that, unfortunately. So you would bring on this person. I mean, if they had extra time and they wanted to learn more and wanted to, you know, support some other things, it would kind of be in a volunteer capacity, but you could, you know, see if that's something they're interested in, or if, you know, or if the funding that we have is enough for more than 100 hours. Like we have a set amount of funding that is specifically for like these 100 hours. But if you find that, you know, it's enough for more than that, then you can see, you know, what you can do with it.
Okay, so we'll have that freedom to try to arrange a little bit the situation. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, as long as you give us those 100 hours, that's what we need.
Okay, yeah, for do what he or she has to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Really great questions. Thank you. I think others will also find them helpful. Any other questions? I think I should also talk about the next steps.
Okay.
Yeah. But before I do that, is there any other question?
No.
Okay.
No.
So the next steps, there's going to be an application form that I will send out probably tomorrow, but definitely before Friday. And then we'll need that to be submitted by October 20th. And then we will make the decision by the end of October of the 3 partners for this project. So the next step would be to make sure that the affiliate is really interested and able to participate in the project. And then if so, to fill out the application form, and then you're officially kind of one of the candidates that we'll choose from.
Okay. Sounds good.
Awesome. And then if we do choose you to be a part of the project, we will start coordinating in November with, you know, starting to think about like what's the data we need to collect. I'm bringing on 2 fellows who are going to be supporting this project. So they will be doing some research about the local education system, about the curriculum and how that aligns with Wikimedia products, so that we can, you know, see there's a lot of good quality articles about social studies, but not that many about science. So we can kind of see what we can do. So they'll be supporting that. So what we'll be doing right away is helping the researchers to research the right things. So that's why we need to really decide on the countries kind of ASAP, so we can start doing the groundwork, and then implementation of the materials in the classroom will happen next year.
Okay, yeah, because we for example, we start in March, our school year, for example.
Yeah, so what we would need to do though is like be able to, so you start in March, when does it finish?
March until December.
Until December. Okay,
yeah.
Great. So
summer vacations are January and February.
Yeah, okay, great. So then what we would need to do is maybe some of the teacher interviews and data collection would be in November, essentially, so that we can use that to...
Yeah, that will be the best. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
In our case, at least.
Yeah. It'll be different depending on the school system.
Yeah, of course, depending on every country. I have another question. Okay, so there's 100 hours for this local coordinator, but regarding month, March until, I don't know, June, December, July,
until the end of June next year.
Okay.
June 2020. Yeah, so our fiscal year is from goes until June 2020. That's when we will have the final evaluation of the project. So yeah. But that doesn't mean like like I said, it's kind of flexible. So sometimes there's going to be more time needed than other times. So during the beginning stage, probably fewer hours, but there will be maybe some interviews or helping us to maybe translate a survey. And then around whenever the next school semester starts, it'll probably be more intensive because they'll do like the in-service training and then like the ongoing support for the teachers and some data collection. And then towards the end, it'll be less because we'll take all of that data and analyze it. And then there'll just kind of be some back and forth about like, do these results match with what you're seeing on the ground? Is there something we missed? So just kind of some collaboration on making sure the final evaluation is really reflective of, what happened. And then that's it.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Okay,
Cool.
thank you.
No, thank you.